Hi, welcome for joining my 24 hours journey flying from Singapore to Athens in the end of January 2023. In this video, I'm going to talk about how I used the first day of my trip in Athens to adapt to the time differences and the weather. This is an important preparation if you wish to really enjoy your time in your travel. Especially when this is my first trip that I did without any prior planning. And it turns out to be the best plan for me to fit in the new environment physically and mentally. Starting by adjusting the sleeping hour to paying attention in the food and drinks. And I manage all this in a relaxing way while having some time exploring the city. So let's prepare ourselves to have a sweet dream above the sky. Having a full night's sleep is very important and helpful for me to explore the city later on, which is in the morning, the beginning of the day in Athens. For this trip, I planned 6 nights for me to explore the city. As I plan to take my time and have some interesting findings by paying some attention to the details. And also for the first or perhaps the second day as well, as a transitioning for jet lag or even recovery if I couldn't sleep well in the plane. The main goal here is to pay attention to how I feel physically, mentally, and have respect to that feeling. This is the time space I reserve for myself to allow the flexibility. It is also a way for me to find balance between the time for resting and keeping some activities going on in the schedule. Besides resting, I use this time also for figure out things around the city, around the place where we stayed, especially when after we checking in to the guest house, we've been busy setting up the Wi-Fi, checking if the water heater is working well. And especially for renting the Airbnb like us, every host they provide different thing for the guests. So for our case, we don't have the drinking water, and they stated we'd have the toilet paper, but ended up we couldn't find one. So these are the things that you need some time to get it before all the shops closed. Then we will have to look for the grocery store nearby your home, not too far, because you're going to get the drinking water, and walk back to your guest house. As soon as we arrived in the guest house, we had to carry our luggages, which are super heavy, to the steps before we can reach the tiny little lift. And not to mention, we spent quite some time to figure out how this lift's working. And of course, at this point of the time, we're all just starving. One thing that I'm glad to arrive in the city in the early of the day, because then I can have the coffee. The aroma and the bitterness in the coffee just fills me up with energy. It's the best way to recharge myself. Although there's a beautiful sun welcoming us on the day one in Athens, with the temperature at about 10 Celsius degree, with more than 12 hours of journey, we're just craving for something which is hot and warm and soupy and flavorful. If you're a foodie like me, I believe you could understand we always get comfort from the fresh, hot, and delicious food. And now is the best time to have some light walk after the food. And this is the first interesting thing I found in the street. The raw textured wall. Every touch is a little moment of celebrating the presentness. We continue the findings by wandering around the town. In the past, I usually plan my trip in advance, but not this round. So I had to really let go of the fear and just to wander and get lost in the city as a new way to explore. I found the second thing that intrigued me. Are they growing the oranges on the roadside? Oh, also the bakeries that look so yummy. Here we found plenty of Turkish dessert. Then only we realized geographically it's very close to Turkey. And one of the best things to travel with friends together is that we can afford to share every food that we want. This is a supermarket that just 2 steps away from our guest house. We were here to get the drinking water, but look what we found. Trust me, this is the first time in my life seeing so many kind of cheese sell in a store. We wanted to try the cheese so bad, but we're also overwhelmed by the type of it. So we decided to try out the cheese at our dinner in the local restaurant. The first dinner we had in Athens was quite early, like around 6 o'clock. Perhaps that's too early for the locals. But by doing this, we have time to enjoy the food and having some time to digest the food before we get on bed. And who knows, you'll be lucky like us to be offered a special dish from the kitchen. A smooth Greek yogurt with honey as dessert. After a good food in the right time with right portion, together with few things that I mentioned previously, I can now expect a good energy level the next day and the following days to visit the historical sites in this ancient city of Athens. I hope you have something to take away from the journey I'm sharing today. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video.